Shavua Tov, a good Avoch, and welcome to our program. On Tuesday is Beziel, Tiferet Shebetiferes, the birthday of the Rebbe Maharash. The Rebbe brings so many times the famous Yerushalmi, now made famous by the Rebbe, that on the date of a person's birthday is Mazlei Gever, which means that the muzzle of the person shines brightest on the day when he was born. Now, Beziel is the Yom Holedes of the Rebbe Maharash. Does our muzzle shine brighter on Beziel? Will come a Jew from Chachmi Lishanke, maybe, and he's going to say, you don't see it in the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi says that when it's your own birthday. Beziel is not your birthday. Beziel is the birthday of the Rebbe Maharash, who was born 188 years ago, or something like that. So what does it have to do with you? Comes our Rebbe, and he says that Mazlei Gever on Beziel is not only of the Rebbe Maharash, of each and every single person. Let's see it inside. The Rebbe starts and he says, among the famous heroes, of the famous teachings of the Rebbe Maharash is L'chatchila Rebbe. And then the Rebbe says like this: the Rebbe Maharash and the Bal Yom Holedes of Beziel, Shebeyem Zeh Mazlei Gever, and that day the muzzle of the Rebbe Maharash is strongest. Upeil is Gabretz Etzel Kol Yisrael, and that affects a strength by every single Jew. Why? Liyesei Nisi Yisrael. Because the Rebbe Maharash was a Nossi, and the Rebbe brings the Rashi, the Nossi Hu Hakel, it's a Rashi in Parshas Chukas. So therefore, everybody has an additional strength on the day of Beziel, especially those who follow the instructions of the Rebbe Maharash of L'chatchila Rebbe. Talking about the Rebbe Maharash and L'chatchila Rebbe, the lifestyle of the Rebbe Maharash was L'chatchila Rebbe in the form of riches. Now, the Chassidim at that time did not have the means to support this kind of lifestyle. Oh, he had a coach with golden wheels, 4 horses, a coachman, and the whole entire hanhoge of the house was l'chatchila Rebbe. Chassidim did not have the money for such a lifestyle. Where did the Rebbe Maharash get the means for this kind of conduct, for this kind of hanhoge? And this indeed is our customary story. The Rebbe asks this question, I believe, in a Maimer. And the Rebbe brings, although there are not many stories in Maimorim, that the Rebbe Maharash had a person in Petersburg of that time, the main city, and he would tell him when to buy obligations. Obligations, that's like banknotes, obligations. Even today in Hebrew, they are called igerot chov. And they're a form of stocks. And the Rebbe Maharash would tell him what to buy, when to buy, and when to sell. This individual, the Rebbe says, was a memulach, was a sharpie. And he has a good mind. And he heard that if you buy a certain obligatia, don't ask me any questions whether it was inside trading or not, probably not. But he heard that if you buy that, this is going to render a good return. But he couldn't reach or send a letter to the Rebbe Maharash, and he needed the answer immediately. So he did it himself. And guess what? He made a lot of money. When he later told the Rebbe Maharash about it, the Rebbe Maharash said, since he didn't tell him to do it, and he didn't know about it, so therefore, die Geld hat nicht gescheiches zu ihm. So this money that was earned has no connection with the Rebbe Maharash. Also, the anhoge in this is l'chatchila Rebbe. Now, the Rebbe says is Yodua the Pisgum of the Rebbe Maharash, and these are the words. Die Welt sagt, dass man kann nicht herunter, darf man herüber. The world says that if you can't go down, you go over. Und nicht halt, als man darf lechatchila herüber. And I'm of the opinion that you have to go lechatchila over the top. Now, it was mentioned on this program more than once, I believe. How many times did the Rebbe Maharash say that? You're not going to find it in the Mamorim of the Rebbe Maharash. You're not going to find it in the Sichos of the Rebbe Maharash. We know but that the previous Rebbe writes this in a letter, that this is what the Rebbe Maharash said. And how many times did he say it? Probably one time. How many times did our Rebbe say Lechatchila Aribah? More times than we can think. More times than we can remember. As a matter of fact, I heard from a Chassid, but he made a very, very correct observation. That when the Rebbe would start, and he did it so many times, about the Rebbe Maharash, he would say something like this. The Rebbe Maharash sagt, als die Welt sagt, am kann nicht herunter, darf man herüber. Und nicht sagt der Rebbe Maharash, und der Rebbe Maharash sagt, und der Rebbe Maharash sagt, am kann nicht herunter, darf man herüber. Und der Rebbe Maharash sagt, und nicht sagt, it was a lot of words. And it sounded as if the Rebbe was looking for words. But I have a secret to tell you. Our Rebbe did not look for words. Our Rebbe knew everything. He didn't look for words. It was a form of saying. The Rebbe Maharash sagt und nicht gesagt. That was the message the Rebbe wanted. The Rebbe wanted to say these words, und ich sag. So it's not only the Rebbe Maharash. The Rebbe Maharash said it once. Our Rebbe said it constantly, time after time, that he wanted us to be in the form of Lechatchila Rebbe. And the Rebbe explains that it's not that simple. We got ourselves in the mode of Lechatchila Rebbe. That was yesterday and today. But the Rebbe says, if it was yesterday, right, then today it has to be more. Why? Because today that already became the norm. So now today we need Lechatchila Rebbe more than yesterday. And tomorrow we're going to need Lechatchila Rebbe as opposed to the Lechatchila Rebbe of today. And the Rebbe even writes it is something that goes without a sof. In other words, it's perpetual. The Lechatchila Rebbe is not a one-time Lechatchila Rebbe. Every day it's Lechatchila Rebbe over yesterday. What was good yesterday is not good enough today. Today has to be Lechatchila Rebbe more than yesterday, and the tomorrow more than today. And then the Rebbe says that the Rebbe Maharash could have said, technically, that he wants everything to be done in a way of Lechatchila Rebbe, one word, that all the anhogas of a person that has to do with Teila mitzvahs should be done in the form of Lechatchila Rebbe. But that's not what the Rebbe Maharash said. The Rebbe Maharash said, die Welt sagt, am kann nicht herunter, darf man herüber. So he's mentioning that there is a Hava Amina, there is a world, and he recognizes the world, and he recognizes that the world has a philosophy of Arunter. And why is the Rebbe Maharash telling us? So that we should know what reality is. Yes, we live in a world, in a difficult world. We live in a world of Arunter. If you can't manage, you can't manage, and that's it. That's what the world is going to say. Take a look what's doing in your bank account. Take a look how much money you have today and how much you can, for 100% get for tomorrow. And this is what you spend for a meset, for tzedakah, and so on. And in the general, there is a school of thought that says that this makes sense. Comes to Rebbe Maharash and he says, yes, I know about it. And there is a world. However, you have to know that world that says that you go down, that's not what I recognize. I say, says the Rebbe Maharash, and says our Rebbe, Lechatchila Rebbe. Not only that, and the Rebbe mentions here that there is a svora of Arunter, but the Rebbe Maharash says, Lechatchila, you shouldn't even consider That's Svara. Although that Svara exists, that thought exists. And it's not that he's not cognizant of the fact that it exists. There is a world and such a thought exists. And there are many people who live by that. But the Maharash said this is not what he wants. He wants Melech Tchila from the start. It should be in the form of a Rebbe. And the Rebbe says that you see it from his birthday. His birthday is Beis Iyar. Beis Iyar is the Sfira of Tiferes, Shebe Tiferes. So first of all, Tiferes itself is indicative of beauty. And what does beauty mean? When there is a mixture of many things together, of many colors. If you bring many colors together, yes, even one color can be beautiful. Nevertheless, when you mix many colors together, even opposing colors, then you'll have beauty. And this is why we find in Chumash, Bigdei Kedusheim lechovidul siforos, and those were garments that had many colors. They had all kinds of, they were weaved together, and therefore that is called Tiferes. Moreover, here we are calling Tiferes Shebe Tiferes. What means Tiferes Shebe Tiferes? The Rebbe says Shleimus Hanevi Hayefi, the perfection in niceness and beauty. Or Shleim is the completion, the ultimate, if you may, in niceness and beauty. And that's what the Rebbe Maharash wants. See, in other words, it's not only, it should be in a form of Tiferes, it should be Tiferes, Shebe Tiferes. And the Rebbe says that we should connect that with the month of Iyar. We know that the month of Tishrei is the month that's called Bachedosh Rishon, the first month. That's what it's called. It's not only Nisan, it's called Bachedosh Rishon. It's the first month. On Iyar that says Bachedosh Hasheni, it's the second month. What does that mean? Nisan is symbolized, or symbolizes, the Anhoge Nisis, that's Lamayla Mederech HaTeva, the Anhoge Milmaylo Lamato. A Anhoge that is according to the realm of Nisim, of miracles. Sivon, Chedesh Hasheni, the second one, not the first one, the second one stands for Anhoge Milmato Lamaylo, of doing things step by step, which is Sfira. One day, another day, another day. We don't count 49 days in one night. We don't go from Chesed Shebe Chesed and to Tiferes Shebe Tiferes in one night. We don't do that. We do it little by little, day by day, day by day, day by day. Had a friend who would like to say little by little, yidel by yidel. At a certain speed, at a certain pace, and so on. Lechatchila Rebbe means that we jump over. So the Rebbe says that here we are told that even though you're in the days of Sfira, however, in spirituality you do Lechatchila Rebbe, you do more and more and more and more, until you are going to reach Imir Tashem Malchus Sheba Malchus. And the Rebbe says that if we look in Chumash, we find the concept of Lechatchila Rebbe. Where? In the very beginning. In the very first word. Bereshis. And the question is, why did the Stela start with a Beis, not with an Aleph? Like Onechi Hashem Elekecho. And the answer is that Beis stands for Baruch. Baruch means a blessing. A blessing, says the Rebbe. Bereshis, a blessing from what? We don't have a world yet. So, whom are we blessing? How are we blessing? What are we blessing? And the answer is, even before we have a world, it's already Lechatchila Rebbe. We already have the Baruch. We already have the Baruch even before the creation of the world. That's what the Beis stands for. And then the Rebbe says that after that it says Veruach Elikim Melachefes al Pnei Hamoyim. The Spirit of God hovers over the water. And Chazal say, and the Rebbe brings it here in Bereshis Rabbah, Zeruchi shel Melech HaMoshiach. I believe also that the Balaturim brings it on the spot. Ruchi shel Melech HaMoshiach. Comes a Jew, and we know there's some smart Alex Jews, and he says, how does this get in here? Ruchi shel Melech HaMoshiach. Melech HaMoshiach is at the end of the days. After 6,000 years. It's not at the beginning. At the beginning we're creating a world. Now we don't even have a world yet. The world is going to be created. And already it says, Ruchi shel Melech HaMoshiach. How does the spirit of Melech HaMoshiach get in here? The answer is one, says the Rebbe. Lechatchila Ariba. Yes, Melech HaMoshiach is the ultimate revelation. There's so many things that have to happen before. Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov and generations and Golos, one Golos, another. Ultimately, Mirat Hashem, the time is now, Melech HaMoshiach. But at the beginning of the days, says the Rebbe, that is the concept of Lechatchila Ariba. At the end of the Chumash, it says, Ulchel hayod chazaka, ulchol ha'isas ve'ameisim, ulchol hayod chazaka asher osa meisha leini kol Yisrael. Ulchol hayod chazaka asher osa meisha leini kol Yisrael. All the meisim that Moshe Rabbeinu did, leini kol Yisrael, in front of the eyes of everyone, that everybody can now see it in Eifon for Lechatchila Ariba of kol Yisrael. Not only some of the Jews, all of the Jews. I remember once at a Fabrengen, I didn't see it printed, or probably is, and I didn't notice, that the Rebbe said, and he would say it very often, that we are sitting here at this Fabrengen, but Mincha we'll daven in Yerushalayim Eir HaKodesh. Sits a Jew and he doesn't understand this. Sitting in Brooklyn, and not only that, it's Shabbos. All kinds of questions whether Mashiach can come Shabbos. The Rebbe said that. And he does, how is this possible? The answer is, it's Lechatchila Ariba. Yes, you have questions. Yes, in your mind you do not understand how it's going to work. Mashiach will work it out. And if you have a kasha, how can it be that we should be here now and daven mincha in Yerushalayim Eir HaKodesh in the Shabbos, and it's a question whether Mashiach can come on Shabbos, and we didn't hear from Eliyahu over 3 days ago. 3 days ago, all kinds of questions, maybe good questions. When Mashiach comes, you'll ask him that question too. So, in a form of Lechatchila Ariba that a Jew doesn't even comprehend, he doesn't even understand. In his greatest way of any form of thinking positive, of any form of the future, he cannot reach that plateau of the coming of Mashiach. His mind doesn't understand that. As far as he's going to let his fantasy run away, he still doesn't understand it. And the Rebbe says that's what Lechatchila Ariba is. Something that we do not understand, but that's what it's going to be in the form of Lechatchila Ariba. So the Rebbe of Lechatchila Ariba, although the Rebbe Maharash is the one who said that, but the Rebbe of Lechatchila Ariba is our Rebbe in our generation who said it so many times, once and again and again and again and again, that he wants us to live in a form of Lechatchila Ariba. And now we're talking about Beis Iyar. Beis Iyar is the Yom Haledes of the Rebbe Maharash, and it's Masli Gever of each and every single Jew. Not as someone would think it's Masli Gever of the Rebbe Maharash, and even that they're not going to understand. The Rebbe Maharash is in Gan Eden already so many generations. So what does Masli Gever mean in Yerushalmi? The plus the pshat in Yerushalmi is that you're talking about a Jew who lives in this world, but this is also the pshat of Lechatchila Ariba. That it's not only the Rebbe Maharash when he lived in this world, it's the Rebbe Maharash that where he's now. He also has the union of Masli Gever in Gan Eden, that his Masl is strongest. And by extension, it's not only the Rebbe Maharash, it's all of those who have a connection to the Rebbe Maharash. The Rebbe Maharash was a Nosi, and all of those who conduct themselves in a form of Lechatchila Ariba, Muslim Gever on this Tuesday. And there should be Masli Gever of each and every single Jew. And what does Masli Gever? If a Jew had one bakosha, I can ask one bakosha. En dat is, bring us Mashiach Tzidkenu teken voor Miyad Mamash, gezondheid en veiligheid. Over Agolo Didan, over Simcha, over Tov Levov, over Teva Nile Ve'aniglo, over Mata Me'asalat Vochim, over Chesed, over Rachamim, Vetekef, Umiyad Mamash.